Hey guys, it's Phil coming back at you with another video. I hope everyone is doing well, taking care of themselves, and practicing self-care, because no time like the present to be able to exercise ourselves and to make ourselves in the moment to make everything that comes a present. But since my last video, 32 people have passed their exams, and it's amazing to me how many people rep and rock with me and include me in their prep, and it just is so amazing to me because I've been doing a lot of reflecting on where everything started, and it just means so much to me that you guys allow me to be able to do the stuff that I do, and for you guys trusting and including me in that process. But the people that have passed are as follows: Rochelle Z, Christina A, Jasmine H, Jory M, Stacy C, Jordan M, Vanessa L, Tracy B, Maria D, Ashlyn M, Nan FC, Lisa K, Nina G, Bridget B, Sherry B, Rachel S, Michaela C, Shamnika M, Emily S, Carly C, Katie AD, Naomi J, Larnie N, Amanda O, Jessica F, Hannah H, Lance H, Carrie R, Lauren S, Natasha L, Brittany H, and Sophia T. And I'm so excited, man, because the exams are just getting killed, sliced and diced, and everyone is staying motivated and focusing on what they need to be focusing on. And it just blows my mind, man, to just get just such emails of like, man, it was so amazing, or I wasn't believing in myself prior to connecting, or all of these things, man. And it's just like, as professionals, man, the things that we don't say or the things that we tell ourselves that prevent ourselves from getting to where they need to be is amazing to me, man. But if you want to connect with me directly, or you want me to share your name as well, send me an email at berda24@gmail.com, as well as if you want to be on the Sunday study groups. The next ones that are coming up are as follows: 628 community interventions, 75 client interventions, 712 practice questions mixed, so it's going to be a mixture of application reasoning and recall questions, 719 ethics, and 726 Maslow and other theories. I haven't really decided what other theories I'm going to include in that, so if you want a theory reviewed, just put it in the comment section below or send me an email as well, as I'm going to be having a one-day test prep, and it's coming up. I wanted to get my video out sooner, but my internet is actually out right now, so I'm running it off of my phone, so apologize if the video is a little bit different. But the one-day test prep is this Saturday, 6/27. It's the first all-day thing that I've done, so it's going to be from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern time, and it's on 10/27, which is in 2 days. And if you're wondering, like, what is it actually going to be, or what is it going to cover? So it's going to cover topics or tips I find most helpful to pass. The topics that are going to be included are typically tricky for people, so the things that come to my mind that I'm going to be reviewing so far: the subpoena versus court order. How do you navigate that process, and what is this process and how to do it? Or if you see it in the question, what are things that you should be looking out for? Community. So just different community things. We're going to go more in depth about community interventions on the Sunday study group on 6/28. And then refer versus supervision. When do you need to refer the person out? When do you need to seek supervision? And then, of course, other things that I think of as we go along. It's also going to review common reasons why people fail. And I feel like this is so under talked about that it just blows my mind. Like, there are so many things that people do where they tell themselves that prevent themselves from actually getting to being able to pass the exam, or I failed the exam, I don't really want to talk about it, so I'm going to put it in the closet, not learn from it, and then it's going to happen again. So the things that we do not recognize, we tend to repeat. But when you notice something, you know it, so when you know better, you tend to do better. So just kind of exposing common things that I've worked through with people, as well as seen people do when they did pass their exams. And then we're going to review a lot of practice questions during that Saturday group. And if you're like, Phil, I cannot attend your Sunday study groups or the one-day test prep, I'm going to be recording them, so that way you'll be able to view them later. And if you want any information on the Sunday study groups or the one-day test prep, send me an email at berda24@gmail.com, or check the description in this video. So it's underneath the video. You just click it, drop down, and it gives you a lot of information. I'll have information on how to connect with those things, or if you want to connect directly with me, as well as, for those that don't know, Audible has agreed to sponsor my YouTube videos and my podcast. So if you want to help me as well as help them, sign up with my Audible affiliate link at audibletrial.com/fill-in-the-gaps. And if you're like, what do I do with that? It allows you to get a free book as well as continue to get books that you can listen to on the go. So if you're busy like me and you still want to get information to help advance yourself or build yourself up in some way, Audible is a really, really good way to do that. And if you're like, Phil, I have no idea a book that I should get with the free book, there are a couple that come to mind that I would suggest getting with that. It's The Alchemist and Just Mercy and The Boy Who Was Raised as a Dog. So those are just different things that can offer a lot of different things. So The Alchemist is going to be a story of like resilience and different life lessons that I still apply to my life. Just Mercy is about Brian Stevenson, about how he helped people get off of death road. And then The Boy Who Was Raised as a Dog is just a lot of clinical stories and scenarios that can help you advance yourself in trauma work in the field. And again, if you want to sign up and help me as well as help Audible, go to my Audible affiliate link at audibletrial.com/fill-in-the-gaps. And if you didn't know, I have a Facebook page, so go to Facebook at fill-in-the-gaps. You'll be able to stay up to date with everything that I'm doing, all the study groups in different ways, because I do allow people to get into my Sunday study groups for free. If you follow the page and you comment and provide some positive feedback to other people, as well as for those that don't know, I have a podcast. It's on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, and Spotify. It's also at Fill in the Gaps. And I appreciate everything that you guys do and all the things that you do to help me grow and strive for the things that I want, as well as I'm helping you to get to where you want to go. It's just an amazing community that has been able to transpire. And if you want to connect with me again, it's at berda24@gmail.com. And I'm not leaving you just yet because there's something that's been heavy on my heart and that's been going through my mind quite a bit, is consistency. We often as humans tend to lack consistency, especially in test prep with COVID that has made everything very, very inconsistent. We're not really sure what to look at. So what do I mean by consistency? Because a lot of times people say, Phil, I have consistency because I've been doing an activity over and over and over for multiple days in a row. And to that I would say you have been very consistent, but have you been consistently efficient? And efficiency is different than just being going along with it. So it's that quantity versus quality type thing. So people can be consistent with their studying for multiple days in a row. I've been studying for months, or I've been studying for a couple weeks, and I do not feel as prepared as I thought I would. And that's where you have to reflect on, you've been consistent, which is well done. You've done an activity for multiple days in a row, but have you been consistently efficient? Meaning, have I been maximizing the amount of time that I'm actually able to focus, or am I actually utilizing my learning style to get myself to where I need to go to be able to retain the information? And again, I did not say memorize the information, I said retain it, because there's a difference between memorizing and being able to recall and apply it to different cases. Because a lot of times people are like, well, this person told me I need to memorize everything about all these different topics, so I need to know all the diagnoses in the DSM, and I need to know all the different ages and concepts about theories and concepts and all of this. And it's like, yo, you don't really need to know everything, but when you see it, you need to be able to apply it to that specific client scenario or question in general. So what do I mean about being consistent is pushing yourself to do things that are going to benefit you in some way, shape, or form. Because do not get me wrong, if you've been studying for weeks or months in a row, you will be able to be exposed to the information, but if you're not able to actually feel comfortable learning the concepts or being able to apply the things that you have been learning, you may have to switch it up, which would lead you into developing a routine. So most people that have been successful in passing the exam or successful in life in general have developed a routine that they feel comfortable with, as well as has kept them accountable and been pushing them further than they would have gone if they were just spitting in the wind or shooting at the hip and be like, I'll get to where I need to go eventually. No. Sit yourself down and say, what is the length of time that I need to study? How do I need to study? And how do I get the job done to make myself feel comfortable? Which begs the question of, Phil, my exam is coming up. I'm not feeling as comfortable and confident as I thought I would. These practice questions are kicking my butt. And it's always a tough, delicate subject of, am I not ready, or am I convinced myself I'm not ready based on study materials that may not even be equivalent to the practice that I need to be doing to be prepared for the actual exam? Because the truest fact that I can ever share with you guys is the only indication of whether you pass or fail is the actual exam. So you could be getting your butt kicked by all these practice tests and all these practice questions you see, but key emphasis on practice. So practicing something is going to help you perform. So if it's not improving your ability to perform, or you're not reflecting on the drawbacks and all of these things over here and doing this and that, you need to sit your tush down, figure out what you need to be doing to improve your process. And if the questions are not equivalent to what you're going to be seeing on the actual exam, you may need to just be setting them to the side or having them serve a different purpose than you would have otherwise, because every practice question is not created equally, and that's where you have to be careful when you're utilizing and picking different study materials. That does not mean that study materials are bad. It just may be bad for you. So you have to be consistent with the way that you carry yourself within that routine. And what I mean by that is trusting yourself of doing the right things to get yourself to where you believe that you need to be going. And that doesn't mean that what worked for somebody else is going to work for you. So if somebody tells you that this study material is bad or this person wasn't helpful for them, don't cut that person out based on the fact that they told you that that wasn't a good, efficient process, because everyone is different. So you have to sit down and say, what is going to work with and for my situation to help me get to where I want my situation to be. So being confident and comfortable in the process, in an uncomfortable process, is going to be important. And how do you do that? Is getting consistent exposure to things that are going to help you progress in some way, shape, or form. And you don't have to break your back to get there, because consistency does not mean that you have to do binge periods, because binge periods may lead to being effective, but not over time in long periods of time. And what do I mean by that? So let's say you only have 15 minutes every single day to study. You need to maximize those 15 minutes. And some people might say, well, 15 minutes isn't a whole lot. But if you do 15 minutes for a month straight, you're going to be looking at a decent amount of time. You know what I mean? So that's where you have to be real with yourself. If I did 15 minutes every single day for 30 days, now I'm going to be looking at 15 times 30, and then I'm going to be efficiently getting myself there. So if we want to do that math, 15 times 4 is 60, so you want to do 30 divided by 4, which we're looking at about 7. So you have about 7 hours of study time if you did that in an efficient manner. So you have to be realistic. If I did 4 hours within this month, would I have done more than I would have if I would have done none? Absolutely. Is it going to be efficient? Possibly, but you have to sit yourself down and say, what is my consistent pattern look like? And I do not need to trust anyone else besides myself, because myself is going to dictate what I need. And that doesn't mean that you need to be closed off to other people's suggestions or other people trying to help you in some way, shape, or form. But be mindful of, if the person's telling you something that you don't feel comfortable with or that would not work for you, don't listen to that, because then it's going to lead you further away from trusting the most important person in that process, which is yourself, because the only person that can dictate whether you pass or fail is yourself when you're in the exam. So the previous study group that I did that you're about to see for the rest of this video is articulating that and interacting with people that were struggling to pass their exams, getting practical feedback and motivation and advice around that, and the importance of having a routine in the process. So sit back, relax, enjoy it, guys. And from the bottom of my heart, I really, really appreciate every single one of you. If you need anything, reach out to me. Again, my email is berda24@gmail.com. From the bottom of my heart, guys, I hope to see you Saturday. I hope to see you in a Sunday study group. But if not, keep rocking and repping with the videos. Give this a thumbs up if you've enjoyed my content, because the more times and thumbs up that I get, the more exposure that other people can be able to find this style. So if you're finding it helpful, other people are likely going to find it helpful as well. Drop a comment down below of something that you found beneficial from my videos, or a positive thing that you want someone to read, as well as subscribe to my YouTube channel if you have not. Just go down below, click the subscribe button, click the bell next to that, so that way you get an email every time that I upload, so that way you don't miss out on anything. Again, from the bottom of my heart, guys, you guys are amazing. You guys make me better, and I hope that you guys keep building yourselves up, because the more built up and confident you are in yourself, the further that you can go. So if you trust yourself, the rest will follow. I'll see you guys in the next video, guys, and peace out.
I take the exam February 14th. This will be my third time taking it. I failed by 1 point the first time and 2 points the second time. Any tips to stay focused and minimize my anxiety the last few days that lead up to my exam?
Hey Phil, can you hear me?
How is it going?
It's going, Phil. It's been a struggle, but I feel like I'm on the up and up. Your study groups has helped me out a lot these past couple of weeks, helped me stay focused. And we actually talked about this a couple of weeks ago, and I was feeling down about it. I was just like, man, I don't start questioning it. And we really had a good conversation that has helped me. But my anxiety's getting up a little bit. It's less than a week now. And I started actually kind of doubting myself today. I'm like, should I reschedule it? I said no, because if I keep rescheduling it, the anxiety is just gonna get higher and higher, and I don't want to give that anxiety more power than I need to. So I just kind of wanted to see. I failed it, like I said, I failed it the first time by 1 point, and then the second time. So I know you kind of talked to me a couple weeks ago about me not changing my routine, because obviously it's working because I'm right there. I'm right there. And so I know I'm going to take the day before the day before the exam off to just kind of have a self-care day, kind of relax, maybe go a little over ethics. Your last group, we did ethics, and I struggled a little bit on that. That was heavy. That was some heavy stuff right there. Yes. Yeah. So I definitely need to focus a little bit more on ethics, maybe. I don't want to do too hard studying, because I just feel like the couple of days before, my brain's just not going to retain it, to be honest with you, because that anxiety is going to be high. So I'm just trying to figure out what's the best way to kind of stay focused, but not put too much pressure on myself, I guess, the last few days of my, up until the exam.
First, I want to normalize what you're going through.
Okay.
So last week, you were probably boosted up and feeling pretty good about what you've been doing.
Mm-hmm.
And then once you got a week out, it got real to you in your mind. So you started self-doubting and trying to predict the situation and defend yourself in some way.
Right.
And that's why I mean it's normal, because we're excited for an opportunity until we actually get that opportunity. And then we say, oh, crap.
Mm-hmm.
And you're in the oh, crap stage.
Oh, for sure.
But as I was saying before, it's like, you don't need to change anything because it's
Yeah.
worked. So what you did last time leading up to the exam is enough.
Okay.
You've already made enough changes to what you've been doing to get
Right.
you to that pass mark. But if you continue to believe that you don't have what you need
Right.
in that situation, it's going to lead you to being like, well, maybe, or I'm not sure. And
Right.
it's just a way to defend yourself and saying, I have a 50% chance of passing or failing, regardless of what I do up to this point.
Yep, exactly. Because I think last time I was just so confident, so confident. I felt good about myself. I felt good about it. And then I'll be honest, when I saw that fail, it hurt that ego. Like, I'm just like, what am I doing? I was so confident about this. So I'll be honest, I think I'm hesitant to be 100% confident, but like you said, reality. I mean, either way I look at it's 50 chance, like all I can do is just the best that I can and keep doing what I've been practicing, and hopefully it'll work out this time.
And that's the perspective that you need to have is
Right.
regardless of what I do these last X amount of days,
Okay.
it's a 50% chance. But if I start believing that it's different than 50%, I'm going to contribute my control to that other side. So it's no longer 50-50 anymore. If I start doubting myself, I make it 40-60, 30-70, based on the fact that I've already lost and defeated myself.
Right.
So if you go into a situation and say, you're not enough, you can't handle this, you're going to make a mistake, you're stupid, you can't handle this, you're going to fail, I can't believe it, you haven't done this, you're going to start manifesting that, believing that, and you're going to create the equation to 1090.
Right.
But if you walk in and say, I have done everything right to this point, and I've done everything that I could have done in my control and my power, then you walk into that exam and say, I am here regardless of what happens. And these 170 questions are going to determine if I pass or fail, but I can't control that.
Yeah. Right. Okay. That's a good way of looking at it. Thank you. I appreciate that.
And another thing that could help ease your mind, and I've suggested this in the past, and I can already see your personality through our interactions, is map out the things that you can control.
Okay.
Because I love that personality that you have, but you love structure.
Yes, I do.
You plan everything.
I do.
But that's where you have to plan the things that you can. So what time
Okay.
are you going to get to it? What are you going to eat before it? What are you going
Yeah.
to say to yourself? What is your process during the exam? How many breaks are you going to take? Are you going to take a break? What are
Yeah.
some things? Those are the things that you need to focus on because you can
Because
control
that's what I
that.
can control that, right?
Like you can control what time you get to the testing center unless something outside of your control happens. But
Right.
we don't think like that.
No,
But
no, no, no.
that's the stuff you have to tell yourself is if I plan to get there an hour before the exam, that's what I'm going to do. Because if it's going to
Okay.
make me worried that I'm going to be late or anything like that, those are the things that you have to focus on because those are the things that contribute to the 50%.
Okay.
Because if I walk into the exam an hour late, I've given away percentage.
Mm-hmm.
But if you focus on the things that you can focus on that are within your control, it will start making you feel more comfortable about the situation because there's going to be no doubt in your mind that you'll get there. You'll get checked in, you'll get to
Mm-hmm.
your computer, and you'll be able to have that peace of mind that you've been looking for.
Right. And kind of like you were saying about this, I mean, this is my third time, so I kind of already know what to do, what to expect, and I've been to this testing center. This will be my second time, so I know what it looks like. I know where to go. So that should ease my anxiety a little bit as well, I feel like. But thank you. I really appreciate it.
Of course, and like I said, I cannot say it enough. It is normal to be worried
Okay.
and anxious about a big opportunity because this
Right.
is because some of us are normalized to the exam even being just a thing to do.
Yeah.
This exam is a big opportunity to help propel you,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what it is. It's a gateway. It's a gateway to whatever is on the other side for you.
Right.
But that's the thing is, you have done it before, and almost having that peace of mind of like, there's people in this room that don't know what this looks like and how much more worried I once was.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Exactly. And then we talked about because I reached out to you the second time that I failed, and we talked about kind of certain things I could change. And I remember I took one break in the middle of it, and then the last 10 questions I should have took another one because my anxiety just went through the roof. And I think that's where I look back on it. I'm like, yeah, I probably need to take another break if I have time to kind of just chill me out, so I can really take that time, the last 10 questions, because that could have been it right there.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right. I appreciate it. I really do.
Of course, and you can do this. It's just a matter of walking in there and feeling that you can do it, because if you
Right.
don't feel that you can do it, you won't.
Exactly. Exactly. It's like that balance, right? You feel confident, but then also like, okay, this could go the other way over, you know?
Exactly, but that's how life goes.
No, yeah,
You can try to map out everything and still not have it go right,
exactly.
and that's okay.
All right, man. I appreciate you. Thank you.
It's my pleasure, and if you need anything in the meantime, just drop me a shout.
All right. I know where to reach you.
I have a question. Is it okay to ask now or?
Yeah, how's it going? How's it going?
Man, it's going good. I don't know if you remember me, but I'm the
Mm-hmm.
football guy. We talked months ago, and it was very encouraging. So I've been trying to catch you. But my question is, as I stated last time, a lot on my plate, right? Got
Mm-hmm.
three kids, got the wife, and the job, and working in the private practice, right? And then I'm like a part-time weightlifter, so I got a whole bunch going on.
Mm-hmm.
First time I took the exam, I missed it by like 11. Second time I took it, I missed it by 9. Third time I missed it by like 14. And the first time I didn't really put any much effort into it. The second time I tried to use the acronyms for every question. And then the third time I just, I used that program from Michigan, which is like $250. And I went through all those modules. And by me being a school social worker, I was off for the summer. So I told my wife, listen, I'm going to be in this room every day studying from 8 to 5, right? So I did like 2 months, just, trying to use that athlete mentality of just the harder you work, that's how you generate your results. So I'm just going into this exam like, yeah, I'm about to do real good. And then went in there and failed it and figured out it was worse than my my 2 previous attempts. That's when I got pissed. And I was like, all right, like I had it with this exam. And then that's when I reached out to you. We talked. I was very encouraged. And one thing I noticed about that third time I took it is I took a position at Henry Ford Hospital. And that's where, like, if you don't pass that exam, like, you can't be full time. You have to be like a floater, right? So I put like a lot of stress on myself, and it was like I need to pass this exam in order to keep this job, and I end up leaving it anyways. But to my question is, I've took your advice and I've been watching your videos, and that's been helpful. I got so many books. Like one of my coworkers just, I don't know, can you see this, Phil? Clinical exam book or whatever. I don't know if you can see it, but basically I feel like those questions that's in that Dawn book, it doesn't like reflect what I've seen on the 3 previous exams. I feel like the questions that you present in your videos on YouTube, they reflect more of what I've seen on the exam. And I'm doing well, like pausing your videos before you give the answer, and I'm getting them right. But I'm just like, is that good enough to get out there and take the exam, or do I need to put in some more preparation?
So what has you still running?
What do you mean?
What has you still running to all of these materials when you know what works for you?
I guess when I meet like other social workers, that may have passed the exam, or, they just give me stuff, because social workers, we always want to help each other. So they just be like, take this book and this will work for me. And I'm just trying some of everything from people who, passed. And it's just like, I really don't know what works for me.
Well, let me ask you this. As a weightlifter, do you do every single program someone suggests to you?
Oh, no.
Then start treating this exam like that.
Mm-hmm.
Because as a social worker, and I've said this before, we like helping people, but we like helping people to the fact that we stop listening to what works for them. And we're like, do this and everything will change.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not for you. If you figure out that reading that book doesn't work for you, burn the book tonight. It'll actually give you warmth and payoff in the long run. Because what works for you is not going to work for me, and what worked for me is not going to work for somebody else. So that's where you have to sit down and say, what works best for me? And if that works for me, I'm going to drive that all the way home because that's my gift.
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm going to try and utilize my gift, but I still have worry that I might forget something over here, and I grab a book from a friend that worked for them, I'm now giving them my superpower.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where you have to remind yourself is, what I have is enough. I don't need anything else. This isn't an athletic sport. This isn't an athletic game. I have what I need, and I just need to follow my program.
Mm-hmm.
In your powerlifting program, you're not adding extra sets to the program because you know better than the program.
Mm-hmm.
You're reading it verbatim.
Mm. Yeah.
So that's where you almost have to put what you do in your life on hold.
Mm-hmm.
And utilize what has made you successful in a positive way.
Mm-hmm.
Because you doing a ton of practice questions and learning and navigating the technique is similar to your athletic career of doing more reps of what works for you is going to get you further, rather than you doing your workout, doing your buddy's workout, doing this other workout over here, doing this over here. And then you're exhausted and aren't sure what actually works for you anymore.
Yeah. Do you feel that looking at your videos is enough? Because I just feel like I don't want to dare go back to the studying that I used to do. Like, I don't want to. I can't even think about going back to like looking at all these modules and like I just can't even do that. So I feel comfortable when I pull up your video on YouTube, look how you break down the question, and I feel like that helps me. But it's like sometimes it's like 5 questions, and I'm like, is there something else I need to do? Because obviously we got 170, but I took the exam 3 times. I know what it's going to be like. I'm just like, what else do I need to do before I throw out this 200 and however much it costs just to take the exam again,
So that's difficult for me to answer.
Okay.
Because I've had people that have only watched my videos walk in and pass. I've had people that have only watched my videos walk in and fail. I've had people supplement my videos with another program that they're utilizing at work. I've had people utilize my videos as a supplement to another program and it not work. So that's where you have to stick with what you know and for yourself. But I would not let self-doubt creep you into doing something that you don't want to do. Like you said, you don't want to go back to a full-time job of studying for 2 whole months. Don't do it. Get rid of those modules, set them to the side so it's not even a worry in your mind of I'm not touching those modules. Put them and give it to somebody else that's actually going to benefit and utilize those modules because they're not for you.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where, again, I can't tell you only my videos are going to be helpful because they might, but again, I can't predict the situation and know everything. But what I will say is if you utilize and break down 5 questions, you can apply it to 170 questions any day of the week. As long as you're developing a routine, following that routine, trusting yourself, and navigating the situation in an effective manner. Because it's entirely up to you. Even though you failed it before, doesn't mean that you're incompetent and can't develop a program or routine that works for you. But as we talked before, you flip-flopped to multiple programs over a certain amount of time, and you have not been able to identify what's actually worked for you.
Right.
And I don't know if you remember, but during that study group, during our first interaction, another person from Michigan, Lauren, was also processing and worried about being able to utilize and navigate my techniques.
Mm-hmm.
She worked individually with me. We sharpened her tools. She walked in, killed it, and now works at U of M's hospital.
Bang.
And that's what I mean is she got that job based on the fact that she had to pass her exam. And I was like, you did not get that job based on the fact that you told yourself that you couldn't do something. But we were able to sit down, have her navigate past her self-doubt, throw away the materials that didn't work for her, and have her sit in a minimalist type environment and dominate.
Mm-hmm.
Because you stuck to one thing. She didn't do rock with me and then rock with this other person, then rock with this person and be like, man, I've got all 3 techniques, so I'm way stronger now. It's I need one technique because I know what my slingshot and I know what all the things that I need with and for my situation because that's what's worked for me throughout my entire life.
Mm-hmm.
Again, you're not switching powerlifting programs every week or every 2 days because you feel like that program's not working for you.
Mm-hmm.
You need to prepare for an extended amount of time under one toolage to get the utilization of what they're trying to tell you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I feel like I said, I feel like I know one thing I did gain from using it is like I know social work. I know obviously like I know that stuff, but it's just coming to those difficult questions like what should you do first or best or it's like when you get into that exam, it's like, oh my God, like it's like you never seen these questions before. But it's just like really breaking those scenarios and reasoning questions down. I think that I've been feeling more confident watching your videos, seeing how you do it. Now I'm able to get it right. But I'm just like, I don't know. I just want to be like, is that enough to just go in and go take it,
It is. I think you're waiting for me to say that because you already feel in your heart it's enough.
Okay.
And again, we've said before, you've been in a occupation, if you will, of people critiquing you and telling you what is best for you and how you can progress in some way.
Mm-hmm.
If someone wasn't giving you positive feedback or affirmations, you changed your routine throughout your playing career.
Mm.
You had to. You had to. It's sink or swim. Either you do what the coach wants or you're getting kicked.
Yeah.
So that is the thing is you've been so wired to get positive affirmations from someone to know what you're doing, what is correct, that you're almost killing your potential based on that.
Wow.
And you have enough. You have enough talent and skills and all these gifts to get where you want to go. Let go of those losses. I doubt you had a perfect career record-wise.
No.
I doubt you had an undefeated team every year that you were on them.
No.
And again, you had to burn those losses and feel those losses, but you don't still think about them today.
Mhm.
So you need to burn and let go of your previous attempts to get to this current attempt and know that this minimalist strategy is what is working and successful for you. So ride on it.
Mm. Mm. You're right. You're right. So, and sorry, man, if I'm asking a lot, but do
Go
you
ahead.
think, like, do I have to go take another practice exam before I take the real exam? Like,
What do you think?
I,
Like in your heart, what do you think?
I feel like it will be. I really don't want to do it. I don't.
Then don't do it.
I just.
Then don't. You don't have to.
It just seems weird to like go in with not this much effort put into the preparation and the training before you do it. It just seems weird. Like,
But you've already put in that preparation and training.
You're right. You're right. You're right. You're right.
Those previous attempts aren't lost on you.
Mm-hmm.
It's called muscle memory.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. You're right. Dang, you're right. You're right.
Like you already have the technique and talents and all of the experience. You just have to bring it outside of the closet, even though it's painful.
Mm-hmm. Mm. Man, you're right. Well, I appreciate that. I am going to take my exam and be in contact with you.
Good. And if you need anything in the meantime, just let me know.
Will do. Thank you.
It is my pleasure.
Hey, Phil. Can you hear me? This is Asia.
How is it going?
Good. But I am also taking my exam for the second time. And something that I noticed about myself is that I didn't have a problem with retaining the information. I missed by 7, and so I was actually trying to be positive about it, that I wasn't too far off. And I noticed now that it's much more about me applying the information that I'm learning versus me retaining facts and things of that nature. And so I know that when you are doing your questions, you always go for what the clinician is doing, the setting, the client, and there is a piece of the question that's asking, like, okay, what's the problem here in this scenario, or what is the question asking for? Now that question could be fixated anywhere in the brief blurb of the question, correct? It's not always at the bottom or anything like that. I'm trying to get in the habit of answering the question versus me trying to remember acronyms and things of that nature, because everything is different. It's a case-by-case basis.
So yes, the question has what they're asking or the important details anywhere in the question. So that's where I always tell people, do not answer the question based on the first sentence, the second sentence, the third sentence, the fourth sentence, and if there's a fifth one, not that one either. It's a culmination of every single one of them together, because you have to understand it could say depression at the top, and then at the bottom they want to work on getting a job. Are you focusing on the depression or the job?
So if I were to answer that, it would definitely be what the client came in for first, but also assessing for safety to make sure that they are in a stable position.
What if the
And then
question says no issues of suicide or anything, has no details about it? Are you going to assess for it still?
well, if I had the full question, I think I would be further able to assess that. So if they came in for depression and anxiety but was not suicidal and they lost their job, I guess I would ask how they're feeling about it. And then I think from there we would be able to see where the client is
Do you know why I asked you that?
to see how I'm applying my I
No,
don't know.
because you can't answer a question based on small tidbits of a question, so don't do it on the actual exam.
I sure was trying right now. Okay.
Exactly. But you know what I mean?
Thank
And
you.
that's why I did it is I gave you 3 details and you already tried painting the picture in your head of what it was going to look like.
Mm.
So do not do that on the exam. Utilize every detail and know what is actually going on rather than what you think is going on.
So there are questions though, because the exam questions are fairly short. And I noticed that when we are doing practice questions, there's a lot more detail given in practice questions in the actual LMSW exam itself. And it's not always the case now, so don't quote me on that. But what I did see is that they're less detail and more straight to the point. But it also could be to where like they're not giving you enough detail, if that makes sense. So that kind of messes me up as well. I'm not sure if I'm being clear or not, but
Do me one favor.
yes.
Stop trying to predict.
Okay.
You are trying to predict what is going on prior to even seeing the question. This exam is not that structured and there's no themes that heavy. You almost have to view every single question as an individual client, and you would not read their intake and automatically assume what's going on with that client.
Okay. So one last question would be, um, it has been kind of helpful, and I think you may have said in the past for you to put yourself in that seat as a clinician, actually helping that client. Can you further elaborate on how that can be helpful for someone answering the question?
If you're a visual learner, you picturing yourself being in that chair and what's going on around you will be helpful.
Okay.
But if you're not a visual learner, don't do it because it's
Okay.
going to be lost on you. And also, if you're an auditory learner, read the questions or mumble it out loud so that way you can hear it because that's how you learn and retain information. And if you feel it or a tactile learner, write it out and do something that would almost remind you of what the session would look like for you.
Okay, most definitely.
So that's where you're getting closer to your learning style rather than just a generic thing that someone has once told you that may not actually work for you.
Right. Okay. Well, I think that was my last question that I had.
Okay. Well, if you need anything, just reach out to me and we can go from there.
Definitely. Thank you.
Hey, Phil, can you hear me?
Mm-hmm. How's it going?
Hi, good. I'm kind of new to all of this. I've just kind of landed upon you. My name's Linda, and I'm getting ready to take the LCSW. I don't know why this one's freaking me out. When I took the LSW, I don't know, it was fine. I don't know. I did a little bit of studying and went in, took it and passed it and no worries. But the LCSW, I think I'm just kind of freaked out because I've heard that it's so much harder, so much more clinical based. And I'm a medical social worker, haven't done much in the clinical field. So maybe that's why I'm so freaked out about all of this. So I'm trying to put together some kind of an idea of a study plan to refresh my memory of the different areas, DSM, all of it. So, when I went to take a look at your videos, I found a few, but not a lot. A lot of them were the exact same videos. So, do you have lots of different ones, or is it?
So that depends. So I have public videos, which are the ones that if you view on YouTube or like search my YouTube channel, you'll see all those. I have private study groups that I've done over topic areas like Freudian theory, human developmental theory, DSM, MEDS, DSM, etc., which are not available to the public. And then I have live Sunday study groups, which ultimately turn into private YouTube videos as well. So it's kind of difficult for me to say where to find them all, but my public videos, just search my name on YouTube. The private videos, send me an email, and I can give you the payment information for that. But it all depends on what you're looking for.
Okay. So the study groups on Sundays, are they private or are they like this one?
So they're private. So for example, tomorrow's is going to be on group and family therapies, and most times people send me an email. I send them the payment information and the instructions to get into that. And then only people that have paid for the session, as well as sometimes I give some admissions to those as well, are in the session. And then only the people that paid for the session or that were in the session get the recording and the study document for that.
Okay. That's helpful. Thank you.
Yeah. And that's where a lot of times I have a lot more videos, but they're not all public.
Okay. So I think if I understand you correctly, we would have access to the video of the exact study group that we paid for, that we were in. Do I understand?
Yes. Yeah. So with payment for a study group, you're able to attend live, and then you get a recording of the study group, which grants you lifetime access as long as you have the link to it, or as long as YouTube's the thing and then I'm alive, because if you lose the link, I can send you the link. But yes, so you get the exact recording for as long as you need it, and as well as the Word document.
Okay. So the LCSW exam, is it a lot different than the LSW exam?
Not that much different, just the way that you would react. So the LSW, their master's level exam, would be more based on the case management type realm. And the LCSW would be more on the psychotherapy and the way that you intervene in that way.
Okay. So with that being said, that acronym, which I don't know that acronym, but the difference between the two exams, if I can get that acronym down, I'll have a better chance in regards to the clinical side of it all.
The acronym can be utilized on both exams. But again, if you don't know how to utilize it, it's going to be difficult to utilize it in an effective manner. So it's not a requirement of it, but again, it's if it works for you, use it. If it doesn't, I wouldn't suggest doing it, but it's not something that you can't learn.
Okay. And do you have a video on YouTube for the acronym to learn it?
So
do I need to do a study group for that?
So I have a previously recorded study group on it, and sometimes I have live study groups on it, which end up turning into a previous study group. So if you're interested in that, just send me an email and I can give you the information for that.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Sorry to take up everybody's time.
It is your time as well.
I like Rails. Can you further explain how to answer first, next, best questions? Are you able to see our chats? Messages? Yeah. I don't know who Rail is, but that was a good one.
That's Ray. But the thing is I can't technically explain how to break down a question without an actual particular question in front of it. And it all depends on the question as well. So I can't generalize on the way to break down a question. Every first, next, best, most questions are different. So it is all a matter of the components within it rather than external to that.
Which makes perfect sense, because it'll give you a scenario as to where the social worker is within the scenario. Mm-hmm. But I will say this, what I kind of have figured out of myself at the one area that I really struggle with is when they use the word least likely. You know, they give you a scenario and they say, you know, out of these 4 answers, which would be least likely, which in my mind, I tell myself, okay, so least likely means that is probably not going to happen. Whereas what's the best, answer out of this scenario
Mm-hmm.
would be the one, we as a social worker would pick. But the one with the least likely, that throws me every time.
So I would read it. What is the best thing out of the situation? So which scenarios in this are best things to do? So then the one that isn't included in the best would be the answer. Because the opposite of least is best. So there will be 3 best answers and one that is out of line.
I have a question. Can you hear me?
Yeah, how's it going?
Oh, it's going. Well, I took the exam on the January the 9th. The LCSW, my first time. A lot of work, but I was proud of myself for 2 things. First of all, I went and took it, even though I failed. It was the first time I took the LCSW, and when I studied the most was when within the 2 weeks apart from the date. Processing and reflecting, what would I change? Listening now to all your answering all those questions, reflecting. I believe studying within like the 2 weeks apart from the date, I think that was my weakest point. But I got 83 out of 103. I'm sorry, 85 out of 103. So I'm reflecting now, listening to you as to what can I change from now on.
Okay. What do you think you need to change?
I believe the answering the first and next question, how would I approach it? That having a more clear strategy when regards to answering that type of scenario. I feel that it was a lot of reasoning instead of like recall. It was a lot of reasoning and applying of what you already have. That's what I feel.
Yeah, and that's the majority of the structure of this.
Yes.
Most study guides will tell you that it's mostly recall, and that's not the truth.
Correct. That's what I learned the hard way.
But that's the thing is, you don't know what you don't know. So now that you have that experience, learn how to answer those questions and walk in and kill it.
What I surprised myself is that reviewing the content area, they break it down, whereas your weakest spot. I was really surprised to learn that my weakest spot was human development. They said 36. It was 36 questions. Then out of the 36, I answered 17. So like you learn 1, 2, or 3 things about you, but just like I learned today, you just crash it, burn it, the failed past attempts, and then start all over.
Exactly. And that's the thing is, it's a progressional thing. It's not just isolated incidents. What you did prior can work in the future. I also don't suggest people categorize their answers and results, because when you're taking the exam, you don't know what a human developmental or psychotherapy or ethics and professional relationships, etc. You don't know those questions when you're doing it. So why study in a way that you wouldn't actually be able to recognize on the exam?
Okay. So that's what I was thinking. I was really thinking to target the weakest content area but you're absolutely right. Now analyzing, you don't know what was it. Was it human development? Was it assessment? Because it's the way that you gotta answer just what they're asking. It's just what they're asking. And at that moment, just like you said, you don't know what it is. You're right.
Hello.
Welcome. How's it going?
Hey, Phil, you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Quick review. like you always say. Um, the question on acute stress and brief psychotic. Acute stress can lead to brief psychotic, right?
Say that again?
Can acute stress lead to brief psychotic?
Can a traumatic event cause schizophrenia?
Yes.
Depends. Is there precursors to it prior?
Hmm. You know what, these two words, acute and brief, you know, I was trying to separate them, you know, while you were explaining that they both have the same intensity.
Well, forget the first word and read the second word.
Okay.
Would you say someone that's stressed is psychotic?
I see what you mean. Okay.
Because if I told somebody, man,
Uh-huh.
I'm stressed, and they're like, are you hearing voices and are you
No.
seeing things? That wouldn't even be a consideration.
Yeah.
But if I told somebody, dude, I'm hearing voices and seeing things, they're not going to say, are you stressed?
Right.
Exactly. And I think it's trying to find the small word at the beginning is not going to be helpful.
Okay. Thank you. That was it. I'm just nervous. I'm testing next month, and I'm like, I have to break everything down.
Breathe.
Okay, so thank you.